Hey everybody, Chris the Old Ass Retro Gamer here, and I'm back again with another video about the Midwest Gaming Classic. And I can hear what you're saying already, that you are sick and tired of hearing me talk about this damn convention. But I promise this is the last one, but I've saved the best one for last, because it is all about the panel that I was on. It took place on Sunday, April the 15th, which featured not only myself, but Musty Hobbit of Second Breakfast, The Game Grinder, and Corpse Flood Gaming. We were supposed to have another panelist with us, Taylor from Rising Blue Phoenix, but because of car troubles and the weather, he wasn't able to make it. But we went on without him, and it turned out fantastic. So here it is, the entire panel, front to back, edited for your pleasure.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Midwest YouTube Gamers panel. I am Chris. On YouTube, I go by the Old Ass Retro Gamer. Is everyone enjoying the con so far? Yeah! Damn right. Today we're going to talk about a range of topics, but first let's go down the line and introduce everybody else on the panel. We're missing one member today. Taylor, Rising Blue Phoenix, couldn't make it due to the weather, so it's just going to be the four of us today.
He's here in spirit.
Yes, he is here with us in spirit. I am Musty Hobbit of the channel Second Breakfast.
I'm Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming.
And I am Church of the Game Grinder.
Sure, we'll kick off. So the way that we wanted to kind of roundtable this whole thing is to talk a bit about our YouTube channels and kind of how we got to where we are at this point. So, of course, every good hero has an origin story. So we want to give you a bit of that for us. I'll talk about me specifically. I started my channel out of a desire to find a way to document what I was collecting. I had started collecting in 2013, within the month of my son's birth, because I wanted to find a way to introduce him to all the old games that I grew up with. And so 6 months or so later, I launched the channel Musty Hobbit, and my main focus there was pickup videos and to just sort of talk about the things that I found, why I got it, what I found interesting about it. And I had a lot of hang-ups to start. Generally speaking, I'm not a fan of public speaking. I wasn't in high school, and this just being in front of a camera felt uncomfortable. And that is, I think, one of the biggest things when you're getting started on this, and we'll, I assume I'll touch on this in some capacity, is how just going for it is kind of the most important thing, especially in the beginning. You know, we all want to have the best equipment. We all want to have the best content, and really, you don't hone your craft until you try. And so that was kind of how the channel started. And I think I made a point of finding people who were doing similar things. I had been doing a lot of my collecting out of a couple of Facebook groups. I'm based out of Iowa, and so those groups themselves had a few people who were doing something very similar. And so I reached out to them, asked them how they go about doing things, what sort of resources they used, and then just found a way to try. My stuff at the beginning was very lightly edited, if at all, and that has since changed. But I think that approaching it that way and just letting yourself sort of grow within your channel organically instead of trying to do something that's too overly produced is kind of a nice way to ease yourself into starting a channel. I don't want to make this all about myself, so let me hand this off to Chris.
My YouTube channel started because I used to be a video game collector back in the late 90s, and I had a decent collection, and then I lost my job back in 2011 and ended up having to sell my entire collection off to make the ends meet until I can find a new job. And when, I think it was around 2013, I was putzing around at work on YouTube and came across Metal Jesus Rocks' channel, and it kind of like reignited my wanting to collect again. And I also started making my YouTube channel just to show off what I was getting, like to chronicle my regaining my old collection back. And it's kind of turned into something else since then. My old videos are really, really basic and just me sitting there talking and even the audio was out of sync because I'm a filmmaker in Chicago, and I'm not used to being on that side of the camera, so I was really uncomfortable at first, but I kind of found my way after a while. And then my editing style kind of took over. But I was usually just doing it to keep the cobwebs off between projects so I could hone some editing skills here and there. And now I've kind of turned from just talking about video game content into also filmmaking content. So I find ways to mix films in with the video game videos that I do. So I've done collaborations with all these guys on this panel here, and most of them had to do with movies at some point, like video games based on movies or movies that you wish had a video game adaptation or something like that. So yeah, it's come a long way, and it's doing pretty good.
I kind of stumbled into YouTube myself. I originally just collected and talked about video games to my friends and family who didn't care. And I started joining groups on Facebook about video game collecting and people more into what I'm into. And I subscribed to Video Games Monthly to kind of share my collecting with my daughter. And upon getting my first box, I kind of sent a picture to a few friends like, ooh, look what I got. Let's see what's in here. And my friend just goes, do an unboxing video. So immediately I was like, I didn't know what to do. He's like, just put it up on YouTube. It'll get crazy popular or something. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, I'll give it a shout. And he's like, yeah, make someone like who actually cares about video games watch it or something. Like, then they might actually see it. So I just kind of set up my camera on a stack of books and did a very poorly framed unboxing video with my daughter, and she was super enthusiastic about it. And I started posting it to groups. I'm like, oh, no one's gonna really care about like my video games and stuff. And my friends were like pretty encouraging with it. Like, dude, you get more games in these videos than the guys in these videos get. Like you're always talking about games. Like you should be doing this. Like it's kind of a waste of your collection to just not really show it or talk to anyone about games or anything. Just besides like your wife, who's I'm sure is very tired of hearing about it, and like the couple of us that play a game or two a year. So I eventually like branched out and started sharing it into the groups, and that's how I met all these guys. Actually, was one of the first people who started like commenting on my videos and being like, "Oh man, nice pickups and stuff," was actually Church here, and we became fast friends through Facebook, and eventually like started doing trades and video stuff together. And through him, I learned about Chris and Musty, and it just kind of snowballed from there. It became a really the retro gaming community is like I'm sure everybody knows is a super welcoming community. They're really supportive, and I just said, okay, well, I guess I'll make a second video. I just kind of did it because it was almost like a dare, and that's pretty much how I got started, and just kept going with it. And I'm branching out. I don't want to just do unboxings or pickup videos. I want to actually, my favorite thing to do is the community involvement videos where I bring up a discussion topic and encourage people to do like a response video or even just respond in the comments. That's like really one of my favorite things to do, is to kind of bring everyone together. I want to hear everyone's side of the story. And that's what I really like about doing the Game Tenants podcast that Church and I do together. We always kind of bring a community feel to it and want to involve everyone. So you like the last panel, the Cartridge Club said, even if you aren't a content creator, we just want you to be involved. And that's really my favorite part of YouTube in general. So I'll pass it over to Josh and see where he started.
So most of my motivation to start up a YouTube channel was just the desire to talk about the video games with people who would be interested in the games that I'm playing. A lot of my friends also play video games, but they don't play the same games I do. And I was already involved with watching lots of other YouTube channels, and some of the other smaller creators I was starting to learn about as I was looking more into the retro scene of things really made me think, I think I could do that. So it was just a matter of picking up a webcam and just trying to figure it out as I went. I had no previous experience with any editing or anything like that, and it was just figure out as you go. So really my main focus at first was trying to do game reviews because, what easier way to talk about a video game you enjoy than to do a review for it. And then that expanded into just trying to do other things to add more content, more variety to my channel, doing unboxing videos or doing pickup videos. Started getting involved with collaborations as I started meeting other YouTubers, and it's just a matter of kind of finding your way once you get going, especially when you don't really have a plan going into it. I had no plan, so just kind of learning as I went, seeing what other guys were doing, discovering how to do better camera angles and editing tactics and things like that were really the main challenges that I faced. Besides, most people, public speaking is horrifying. My first video that I put up on my channel is still up. Debating about removing it still, but I keep it there just kind of as to show from where I started to where I am now. The first video, I'm just look horrified. I'm reading off of a script the entire time. You can see my eyes looking at the script as I'm reading it, and from that, you're able to discover your strong points. Talking to a camera, you get comfortable with that. Finding a better flow for your discussions instead of just reading off a script, coming up with bullet points or just trying to riff things as you go. So that's pretty much how I got started. And kind of leaning on other content creators to discover how to improve the content that I make. I don't necessarily do highly edited content, so trying to deliver the best video experience I could was my goal, and I keep working at that.
So for you guys, is there any big challenges or hurdles you guys felt you had to overcome in starting your channels or kind of keeping going with it?
I think for most of us, it's the public speaking part, probably, I would imagine. I think that's pretty universal. So moving on to our next kind of bullet point here is what keeps us motivated, and how do we keep ourselves motivated, especially in the YouTube environment. There's so many people out there who make videos, so many people who do it incredibly well. It's easy to put yourself up against other big content creators like Metal Jesus Rocks or Game Chasers, like any of these guys who have tens upon hundreds of thousands of subscribers, who have high quality video equipment. Like, what keeps you going? And what really kept me going was the fact that I uploaded a few very poor videos, and some people started checking them out. People I didn't know. Of course, I had some friends that were like, yeah, we'll watch your videos and we'll show you some support. But then suddenly having people who I didn't know say, hey, I really enjoyed this video, or sharing comments, or I agree with your thoughts on that, or even the people who disagree with my thoughts. It's the meeting people and being able to communicate about the things that I love about this hobby, whether it's collecting, just playing the games themselves. So many different things involved with that. So primarily for me, it's the people that keep me going. The comments, someone's like, oh, never heard of you, just was looking up this game, found your video, and really enjoyed it. I'm going to check out what you have coming down the road. And that, for me, that's great. Like, the fact that anybody watches my stuff. Like, I've been doing this for 3 years at this point, and still, like, kind of my main thing that comes to my channel is I'm very self-deprecating with my humor. I talk down on my channel a whole lot, just, kind of downplay things, and people will be like, oh, no, don't worry about that. But the fact that people watch my stuff is, like, it's amazing. And, that's really a lot of the enjoyment I get out of it is the fact that other people enjoy what I'm doing, besides me just enjoying talking about this stuff and making videos.
I think as far as a motivation thing for me, locally, I don't have that many tight-knit friends who also play games. I have a bunch who have moved away, things like that. And so finding an environment to not only talk about the things that I like to put into my brain, but that that I can find a group of people who then want to hear what I have in my brain, and so it's a nice way to find that little extra branch to others. I think a lot of the motivation comes from the people who watch, and while I personally try not to get too much into analytics, and right out the gate, that is one of the things that will really doom a channel. If you focus too much on that sub count, too much on that view count, you are going to put yourself in a spot where you are going to get, you're going to feel like you're putting in so much effort and getting nothing out of it. And coming from somebody who, I think for the first 6 to 8 months, I had cracked into double-digit subs. Like, hooray, yes. But it got better, and I got better at doing those things. And I think that's where you start to see the motivation. You see your hard work paying off. You see that the gains in little things like your equipment. You know, as you decide to put more funds into those things, you know, we all can go out and buy $1,000 camera off the bat, but why? Like, what's the reason? Are you going to go professional with this? I think there's a lot of people who have dreams like that, and it's, if you put in the work, sure, you can get there. But I think there's a lot of people who aren't willing to put in the work, and so keep it fun. That's the thing. If you put too much pressure on yourself, you are going to demotivate yourself, and that I think is a huge factor for a lot of people, and especially people who get in and get out really quickly.
Yeah, same here. I don't do my videos to become internet famous. I do it because I find it fun. And a benefit of all of that is getting to meet people like the guys on this panel and other YouTubers that'll like reach out and say, hey, I like watching your stuff, and it's great. And also I do it because if I find a topic that I find interesting and I make a video about it, and I get a ton of comments in the comment section, and it starts a discussion. That keeps me motivated to keep making my videos and to keep doing different topics on maybe in the same realm of that. So yeah, for me, it's just keeping it fun. I don't take it too seriously. I too am very self-deprecating on my channel, so as we all know, I like to call myself derpy a lot. But yeah, if it's not fun, I wouldn't still be doing it.
Especially with the way YouTube's been acting lately, of kind of nipping everyone in the bud almost. Yeah, YouTube's definitely been derpy. What keeps me motivated is definitely the community feel of, like I talked about, like I like to create with my videos. The feedback I get on them, like when I wasn't making videos for a few months, I actually had some people asking like, hey, when's your next video coming out? Like it made me feel like, oh, people actually care to see my videos. And what keeps me going is what's made me start in the first place is just liking to talk about playing video games, and just kind of share my thoughts and see what other people think about the same games that I'm getting, or what I like. I like to hear, like if I'm doing a pickup video, I like to hear, hey man, check that one out right away. Like that's a really good game. Like it might be something I just picked up because it looked cool, and yeah, I'll play it down the line sometime. And then, you know, I end up finding one of my favorite games or something like that. Like the fun factor is a big thing for me, and sharing the fun with my daughter with a lot of our pickup videos is one of the main things that keeps me going. And it keeps me interested in the hobby too, just seeing how happy she gets when I get a game. Like I might not even care about it, but she's like, oh dad, we got to play this like right away. And her enthusiasm is what really drives our pickup videos from just being like, or our unboxings from just being something boring and with a little bit of surprise, like just seeing the surprise on her face. I find that no matter how excited I am, I'm not overly excited like a game show host type thing. So even if I'm like, oh man, I got this game that I've been wanting for years, you'll be like, yeah, he didn't even seem like he was that excited. But inside I'm like burning with happiness, like that I finally got this game that I've been wanting forever. So her enthusiasm is definitely welcomed in the videos, and the way people seem to react to how we like host the videos together and stuff is what was definitely a driving factor in us keeping going and making me want to branch out and try different things. Like I've updated a lot of my equipment to be able to capture gameplay and stuff like that, so that I can do more in-depth things than just unboxings or pickup videos, because as fun as they are, just doing the same couple of things gets boring. So you want to keep it fun, you want to keep trying new things. With all the people's support that watch my videos and my friends and family and stuff, it's actually made me more confident in myself to try out new things, and I've been having a lot of fun with that, definitely, and especially doing the collaboration videos that Chris does. It's amazing how much fun you can have for just sitting in front of a camera. And I'm not someone who likes to public speak either, obviously, but getting in front of a camera is a lot more fun when you know, like, it's almost like you're talking to the couple guys. You're like, I know the same couple of guys are probably gonna be watching this video. So it's almost like, you know, at first it was just like talking to a camera and I'm like, who's even gonna watch this? But now it's like, oh man, I can't wait to see what these guys say about it or he says about it. It's just a driving factor, and it's like, it makes it a lot more fun.
So Jason, what sort of approaches do you take to growth, right? Like, do you really push, or like how do you go about getting your name out there?
Well, I join the more interesting groups I find. I like to join them and take part in the discussions on the page, and I share my videos to that. I don't have a Twitter. I really probably should at this point, but it's just been something that I just kind of avoided for whatever reason. Yeah, I don't know, 2018, but I'm in like 2010 still. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's something that I've been meaning to get to with my lull in videos. It was just due to me being way too busy, like having 2 jobs and switching jobs and all types of stuff. And a new baby definitely puts a damper on being able to sit downstairs and play a game, review it, talk about it. So with the baby growing older now, there's a lot more time to get to it. So I'm probably going to start branching out more with Twitter. I'm always on my Facebook trying to get stuff out and talk to people, doing the collaboration videos and doing the shout out videos or tagging videos. It creates the community feel like I mentioned, loving so much. So that's pretty much how I do it. And anytime I'm talking to anyone about games and stuff, and they'll talk about a YouTuber, I mention it and stuff, but word of mouth. But I just let it kind of get out there, and it seems to be doing okay. So as far as I know I'm the smallest channel by far on this panel, but it's I'm happy with the growth I'm getting from the videos I do, and with my expansion into different types of videos, I think that'll help a lot, because then you get a lot of people who don't care about pickup videos who will be like, oh, I love reviews though. Oh, I love top 10s. Oh, I like discussion videos. Oh, you know, all that kind of stuff. Definitely. Top 10s are always fun. Right? Chris, how did you get into, or what do you do for outreach and kind of, you know, sizzling?
I do a lot of collaboration videos to get my name out. I did one with, if you guys know Nintendo, I did one with him. It was like one of the first videos I did after I'd stopped doing like my collection videos, like all the stuff I had in my collection when I started my channel. And I did one with him, and it was about good games that were based on movies. And it got a good response, and I started kind of like pushing the limit towards who I should be asking for a tiny little channel. Eventually, like, I got a lot of pretty decent sized YouTubers to like sign on, and now like I talk to them on a regular basis a lot, and that helped. Huh? Yeah, why not? It doesn't hurt. So that helps, and plus I spam the crap out of Facebook with my videos. So yeah. But also reaching out to other people just in general, like on the social media. Like I met Josh, I think, through Facebook, and through him I met a whole bunch of other people. Like I wouldn't have met Jason if it wasn't for Josh, and I wouldn't have met Musty if it wasn't for Josh and Jason and everyone else. So yeah, just getting your name out there, you know, talk to people. Don't be afraid to talk to people on Facebook, even if you might be intimidated by them. That's my approach to it.
Everyone's a person.
Yeah, it can't hurt. Just chit chat. Everyone likes to chit chat.
Yeah, so I think especially with YouTube, channel growth and outreach can be a very challenging thing. Like I mentioned before, YouTube has millions and millions of people upload videos on a daily basis. So how do you get people to see your stuff, especially when you're first starting out? And of course, anybody who is familiar with any gaming groups on places like Facebook, you see that there's a lot of video spam. A lot of people just join these groups. Hey, I got a new video. I'm going to start sharing that video. So that's a place where you can share videos. But I've, since starting out, of course, I did that. But then as you start branching out with more people, you comment on their videos and, not just to say, hey, great video, you should check out mine or anything, but you get involved, you follow them, you start commenting on their videos. They're gonna be like, hey, I noticed this guy's checking me out. I'm gonna click on his name and see what he has. And I find that's a great way to reach new people because you're sharing similar interests. Social media is, if you're really looking to push growth, it's a very good place. Of course, like I said, Facebook, Twitter. Twitter's great because a lot of things like hashtags, you can hashtag the game you're talking about, and there's quite often when I'm playing a game that I'm really enjoying, I'll go on Twitter and I'll hashtag that game's name and see who else is talking about it and see the kind of things they're sharing, and I might shoot them a message or like a comment. I've just moved on to using Instagram, which is brand new for me, a little late compared to a lot of people, but but that's been another great source of reaching out and potentially finding more people that are interested in what I am doing. Collaboration, as they had mentioned, is another fantastic source. There's been other guys that will make a video maybe as part of a collaboration, or they're just trying to do a topic of discussion, and they'll just throw it out there and say, hey, if you want to make a response video, do that. Send me the link and I'll check it out and we'll go from there. So especially with YouTube, I think talking with other YouTubers, getting involved is a great way, because then they'll maybe they'll share your videos as well. And the spam is a thing to avoid, but sometimes there's certain communities that you can get into, close friends and things, where they're welcoming of that. So there's a lot of different ways you can go about it, but that's kind of how I do it. Another
thing to definitely avoid is the sub for sub model that a lot of people seem to try.
Yeah, agreed.
The very worst thing you can do, because you might have a lot of subscribers that you can show off, like, look how many I have, but how many of those actually watch your video? They just did it so you'd subscribe to them too, so there's two dead accounts, and especially if they don't have any content or really interesting stuff that you're not going to watch it, so it's not really helping your channel in any way.
Yeah, you'll find that if you're looking at those ways to grow your channel, you're setting yourself up for people who will abandon you about as quick as they signed on. So yeah, absolutely, yes, you are 100% correct. The way that they surface videos now is a bit of a challenge for small channels, and I know that there's a lot of people who are kind of rallying behind this and trying to find ways to, under 1,000 subs, here's let's push together, let's be a team, and those are great ways to get your name out there. I have found that, and this echoes the community stuff from earlier this morning, right? You find an audience and you find people who are like-minded, whether that be through Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or panels like this, or those type of things, and let them know that you do it. Yes, strength in numbers for sure, and let your friends know. For the longest time, I didn't tell a lot of my friends that I was doing a YouTube channel because I was nervous about it, and it was like, what? But those people care about you more than you might think and want to watch what it is that you have to say, and so there are ways other than just spamming, you know, social media sites. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, that's yeah, and I think the style of content that you make and the way that you shift your content from time to time really is what can kind of get you into new audiences. There are some people lately who really like to do stuff about their Switch, and that's okay. It's not for everybody, and that is the hot in the gaming scene. That is the hot topic right now. It seems like it was retro a couple of years ago, and it may have slid. It's Nintendo. I mean, let's be honest. But with that kind of shift, you see a lot of people who kind of abandon their brand. Their roots. What it is that they got their channel started on, right? Oh, I really was big on Xbox, so this is my angle, that's where I'm going, and now because maybe Xbox isn't getting the kind of clicks that everything else is, I'm going to start doing Switch videos. And it kind of puts you in a bad spot because then everyone else is doing it. And the motivation for people to click on your video versus somebody else who already has 5 times the views on theirs is not really there. So I guess there isn't a right way to do this, and I want to let you guys comment on this too because there's a lot to it. But what I guess is your guys' approach to like flowing with the trend? Like, do you do it, or is there is there a way that you can mix it in so that you're still kind of tapping into it without just going full bore?
Yeah. There's a way. I mean, like, I have a Switch. I don't feel the need to talk about it, every time I make a video, but some people do, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not judging, but that's not where my interest lies. My channel started with me trying to reclaim the collection that I had to sell off, and I still tend to do that sort of video. I do all these other types of videos. I've yet to jump on a bandwagon, as far as I can tell. At least as far as I can recall, I haven't.
And that's your brand.
That's my brand. I do not jump on the bandwagon, and I can't speak either. So, what about you?
Make a topic of this. I generally just talk about what I want to talk about. If it's something I feel passionate about and it happens to be the trend, so be it. But generally, I'll just whatever I feel motivated to do, and I actually kind of almost avoid a trendy topic because I'm like, well, everyone's already talked about it. Everyone's talked it to death. Like, I'm not going to cover a Nintendo Direct because there's going to be like 200 Nintendo Direct reaction videos and stuff like that. So I tend to shy away from that kind of stuff to keep my content interesting and not feel samey as other people. Bigger YouTubers, you're going to watch their videos first. If you are really big on the latest big thing, then you might have the time, or it might accidentally play after their video in the playlist or something. But as far as it goes, I just if I'm having a conversation and I go, oh, that's actually a good idea, like we might be talking about something on our podcast or something, and I'll be like, actually, yeah, that we could spin that off into a video, something like that. That's pretty much what dictates what I'm going to make a video about. Just something that I feel I have something to put my own spin on, keep it interesting, and not just copycat or clickbait kind of topic that I'm like, oh yeah, it'll get lots of views, because by far my most viewed video is a video on how to hack your NES Mini and get as much games as you can on it. It was outdated immediately because then they updated to where you could fit pretty much the whole library, but at the time it was like, ooh, I can fit like 130 games on this. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And I just kind of found out about it reading. I didn't see any videos on it, so I was like, hey, I'll actually make a video on this. This seems pretty cool. Like, everyone should know this. And yeah, it's at least double the views of any of my other videos. And I'm like, oh, but then other ones came out, and I'm like, now I kind of feel like I made a clickbait video, and I felt real ashamed. But yeah, I don't know. I stand behind anything I put out, so I was still fine with it. Josh, how do you?
So much like Jason, Chris, and really all of us, I tend not to follow trends. I don't really do a lot of topical discussions on my channel. So when there's a hot topic, it's generally not something I'm going to cover, just because I like doing what I do. There are times when I would like to talk about a certain topic, but then I start looking at what all the people I'm following are doing, and a lot of them are already covered it. So I usually leave it up to the experts with the speculation and the things like that, because that's kind of what they do. And yes, and that's true too. And part of what he's kind of mentioning there is that Jason and I co-host a podcast together, and that is kind of a good way for us to talk about trending topics. Like, it's not my typical content on my channel, but here's just an hour and a half of us going on about latest news and things like that. No editing pretty much whatsoever. So at least we get our opportunities to get our voices out there. Whether or not somebody wants to listen, that's up to them. But I definitely don't think it's a negative thing to follow trends and talk about hot topics. But you got to keep your audience in mind when you're doing things like that, because if you are a person who is, say you're mostly focused on retro collecting and things like that, and then all of a sudden you're changing your focus to, what's coming up for the Switch, like, you could potentially alienate all your current subscribers and viewers. So it can be, it's really the approach of your channel that you want to keep in mind. And with that too, I guess that will kind of maybe blend into where we're going next.
Yeah, sure. So I do want to comment a bit about channel rebranding. So when I started my channel was referred to as Musty Hobbit, because that was the avatar and moniker that I was going with as a personality online, and that worked for me when the content was so personal. There was a point in time when I added a show, thus referred to as Second Breakfast, that I was doing every week, which was kind of sometimes it was just a think piece, like, here's some facts about me, here is some news that came out in the last week that was relevant and I think people should hear about it. And that show kind of became everything about what my channel was doing. And so the pickup videos kind of got pushed to the side and that sort of thing, kind of abandoning my roots there. Exactly what you just said not to do. And I've tried to bring those back. Those exist still in some capacity. But I decided that somebody scrolling through the list and seeing a video that says, here's my favorite game genres, Musty Hobbit, might be less inclined to click on that than they would if it said my favorite game genres, Second Breakfast. And so I decided to rename the channel. I didn't want to get rid of the moniker because it's kind of weird to change your name on people, especially those who have only known me by that name, including a large section of the major community that I contribute to, Cartridge Club. So that was kind of where I went with rebranding. I wasn't changing the content. The videos were still the same. It was just now I'm going to call the channel Second Breakfast. I will still be Musty Hobbit, but I will host Second Breakfast. And it allowed me to talk about that as an independent thing. And it kind of frees me up to allow me to bring in other people, or I can, it feels a little bit less odd to involve others than in my videos if I so choose to. So there is a time and place for rebranding. I will say one of the challenges if you have a channel and you decide to change your name, plan that out. You will probably have to change some things in Google. You'll have to, and the search results are going to be weird for a little bit. You will find that your search for your new channel name won't show up for probably a week or two, and then your old stuff. It was a bit of a rocky road for just a couple weeks there, but things kind of rebounded, and things started to show up all right. I don't know if you need to go back and change all of your legacy stuff like that. It's a huge undertaking depending on how many videos you have so far, but just know that the most that you can do to just let people know what's happening and make sure that people who are watching continue to watch is the important thing. So I think we want to.
Well, I had something to say on the rebranding side. I've had a few people actually suggest either to me or to my wife or someone close to me, like rebranding my channel with something not so scary sounding as Corpse Flood Gaming, especially when about 75% of my videos feature a young girl. They're like, it kind of deters me from watching a little bit, and I'm like, oh, she's not offended by it. She's totally cool with it. It's not warping her mind. She is a perfectly well-adjusted kid. So it's something that I've kind of thought about a little bit, but then I'm like, no, it goes with what I like. I like horror movies. I like metal, and I like gaming. So I find it kind of ties the three things together. It just stems from my Xbox gamer tag is Corpse Flood. So that's where it came from. A lot of people ask where I even got that name. I'm like, I just stole my Xbox gamer tag and kind of ran with it. But as far as that goes, I'm staying where I am. I'm gonna keep it at that.
That's good. That's good. So I think we're coming up to toward the end of the time. We kind of want to just we do want to open the floor for questions if you guys have any questions for the last couple minutes. But before that, we wanted to kind of just give you guys again a quick summary. We realized we may not have talked. We've talked a bit about our channels, but maybe just kind of one quick thought on what our channel is, why it is that you should necessarily come watch any one of us. So I'll start. I think at its core, Second Breakfast is a guy who enjoys video games, talking about video games, and sometimes some other stuff. But he has a genuine passion for it and tries to be as informational as possible.
So I would say the game grinder, and kind of this is a tagline that I've jokingly used since I started, was your one-stop shop for amateur videos on video games. So if you enjoy content coming from a more personalized approach, kind of a smaller guy just sharing his passion, that's what I do. Mostly the unboxing videos, reviews, pickup videos, and some collaborations and discussions.
Old Ass Retro Gamer is a little bit of everything. I do top 10 videos, I do collection videos, I do pickups, I do reviews, I do a lot of collaborations with other YouTubers, and if you like a little bit of movie mixed in with your game, I'm your guy.
With me, it's a little bit of everything. I'm all over the place. Like I said, I'm trying to branch out, try new things. So that includes all types of things. So far, we've got unboxings, we've got pickups. I've got my discussion videos, which I say are like my bread and butter. They're my favorite. I've even gotten into a little bit of a different thing. I built a Lego set. My daughter and I love playing Legos, so we did kind of like a time lapse building the Millennium Falcon. So I think that's something I want to keep doing because it was an excuse to be able to buy expensive Lego sets and play with them. So I'm definitely going to do more of that. And yeah, I'm going to branch out. I'm going to try my hand at reviews. I want to try my hand at a little bit of gameplay videos. Kind of not exactly in the vein of Let's Plays, something close to that, but with my own spin on it. Yeah, so if you enjoy what I've been doing so far, I'm probably going to do more of that, plus try some other things. So check it out, let me know what you think. And if for some reason you like the sound of my voice, you can check out Church's channel where we do our podcast. So, all right, if you like wagging beards, there's 2 in the same video. What more could you ask for?
Excellent. So I think that's going to be it for our time. If you guys, do you have any questions? We have time for maybe 1 or 2 if you guys have any questions. Yes?
Do you have any videos that you're post-fact and minus view count? Or do you have any videos that you're like, you feel cringe about, like, oh, God, it didn't come out right?
Okay, yeah.
Like also, what's your, like, I am so proud of that video, I don't care what people say.
Yeah, so the question is, do you have any cringeworthy videos that you either regret making but you still post and you still keep up there, or do you have any that you're really proud of? I want to comment on one that ties to this event from last year. I decided going into last year's Midwest to make a video that said, here's 5 things that I'm looking for at the show. from that video, I ended up finding a number of people, some of them in this room right now, and started a dialogue. And now, a year later, we're still having conversations. We're still talking to each other, and we're running into each other on the floor and saying hi. That video I'm really proud of because it was a simple concept and one that was really easy for people to get behind.
I think everyone would say like the first video they do is usually their big cringeworthy ones.
Yeah,
mine especially because my audio was completely out of sync and the audio was terrible. It was just horrible. But I tend to keep things really positive on my channel. I don't like to talk crap a lot. But I did one video where it was like my worst video gaming memories, and it was just me being like a sad sack for 25 minutes. And telling really sad stories about being unemployed and all this kind of stuff, and it was not good. I mean, it people watched it, but I'm not really proud of that one. I should have tried to keep things more positive on the channel.
For me, it was obviously the first video, as I mentioned before, was really poorly framed. I think like the only like the top half of my head is totally missing. Like I said, it was on a stack of books, no tripod. And then as far as there we go. You might recognize me from this. And my other one would be later on when I was testing out a new camera, and unfortunately I should have been testing it side by side with my regular camera because it was like my favorite video so far to that point, but it looks like crap, and then I'm like, well, you can't really go back and do an unboxing and get the same reaction. So we were all dressed in Mega Man costumes. She was Mega Man, I was Proto Man, and I was just so proud of this video. Then I like uploaded it, and all I see was like wavy lines in it from a really substandard camera. So that's definitely what I'd go back and do.
Awesome. Okay, so I think we're up against our time. Thank you guys. Thank you for your question. And actually, if you want to come up and we have some things, come up and we'll talk to you out in the hallway. But yeah, thank you guys for coming. Enjoy the rest of the con, and stay safe driving home. It looks like a snow globe out there, so have a good one. Thank you.
So there you have it, the entire YouTube Gamers panel from the Midwest Gaming Classic 2018. Let me know what you thought of the panel, if you thought we did a good job, what you thought of the topics we discussed. Did we explain ourselves well enough? Would you like to see us do it again next year? And if so, what topics would you want us to talk about? So let me know in the comments below. So until next time, I am Chris, the Old Ass Retro Gamer, signing off.